The run-and-gun platformer was a genre that was super popular in the 80s and 90s, on consoles and arcades alike. This was a staple for co-op gaming. This genre was almost non-existent for quite some time, but in recent years, we've seen a handful of great run-and-guns that take notes from their predecessors and add some new flair. So today, we're covering the top 20 co-op run-and-gun platformers of all time. Assault Retribution, released on the PS1 in 1998, brought a 3D Contra-like experience that stood out among the lackluster 3D era of video games. Despite its short length, the game remains enjoyable and aged pretty well for the most part. It served as a notable contender against other 3D Contra titles of the time, even though it went largely unnoticed among the flood of AAA releases. Assault Retribution successfully captures the run-and-gun essence with constant enemy hordes and various perspectives reminiscent of Super Contra. The gameplay incorporates item-based mechanics such as ammo management and weapon upgrades. The game also features a smart system to prevent item waste and encourages chaotic destruction. However, there are issues with losing weapons and aiming accuracy. The platforming sections feel out of place and lack clarity. And because of the 3D depth, there's a lot of parts where you're trying to make a jump and you think you're gonna land, but you actually fall into a pit. So the platforming just frankly doesn't work in this game. Despite its flaws, Assault Retribution is a worthwhile experience, offering a reminiscent journey similar to Contra in the 5th generation, and serving as an interesting take on the genre. Run-and-gun fans should not overlook it. Overwhelm is an incredibly challenging retro shooter that caters to dedicated and sadistic gamers. The game, developed by a single person, aims to bring back the 8-bit side-scrolling shooter experience to the current generation. Overwhelm offers an addictive and gratifying retro experience, but it's not for the faint of heart. Players control a genderless explorer who must eliminate all creatures known as the Hive in a series of boss battles. The game's difficulty is intensified by modifiers such as one-hit kills and enemies growing stronger with each boss defeat. While Overwhelm can be nerve-wracking and frustrating, its tight controls and satisfying shooting mechanics make victory feel within reach. The addition of co-op mode definitely lessens the challenge, which to me is a good thing. Overwhelm is a demanding and rewarding experience, but its steep learning curve and potentially repetitive gameplay may not be for everyone. But if you're looking for a run-and-gun shooter that's really difficult and throws in a bit of exploration, this one is definitely worth checking out. Rolling Thunder 2 is a sequel that modernizes the series, shifting the setting to a more contemporary style, resembling James Bond films. The gameplay remains challenging, but with the improvement of no longer taking damage from bumping into enemies. The graphics and soundtrack received significant upgrades on the 16-bit hardware. The game was ported to Genesis, featuring additional levels, enemies, boss encounters, and hidden bonus items. The Genesis version also includes storyline scenes and a unique password system. While the arcade version is not widely available, the Genesis version can be played on a number of collections, and it was available on the Wii Virtual Console. TH Strikes Back is a sequel to the arcade game Thunder Hoop. It features fast-paced platforming gameplay with shooting mechanics, resembling games like Contra and Metal Slug. The graphics showcase various interesting enemies, including biological horrors and sci-fi women. The backgrounds are a mix of sci-fi and Geiger-inspired elements. The game incorporates unique death animations for each enemy, and allows players to kill enemies before they initiate their attacks. While it may not be groundbreaking, TH Strikes Back offers an enjoyable experience worth trying out for fans of the genre. Sunset Riders, released in 1990 by Konami, is a Wild West-themed run-and-gun arcade game that offers 4-player simultaneous action. It features 2-tiered stages, power-ups obtained through doors, and versatile shooting mechanics, reminiscent of Contra. Are you seeing a theme here? Each of the 8 stages showcases unique boss characters, adding personality to the game. The Old West theme is further enhanced by features like bull stampedes, horse riding, and interactive elements such as throwing back enemy dynamite. With its energetic soundtrack and enjoyable gameplay, Sunset Riders is a highly recommended alternative to the Contra series for fans of the run-and-gun genre. Dolphin Blue, developed and published by Sammy for the Atomic Wave hardware in 2003, is a run-and-gun arcade game that's clearly inspired by Metal Slug. Set in a future where a major incident has transformed a peaceful nation into a troubled wasteland, players control characters with pet dolphins as they protect the Earth from an evil empire and rescue a princess. The game features land, water, and underwater stages with diverse enemies and various weapons. Special attacks can be used, and the visuals combine sprites and polygon models. With a tense orchestral soundtrack, Dolphin Blue is challenging and offers a unique visual style, making it a worthwhile experience for fans of the run-and-gun genre. It was not ported to consoles and likely faced commercial difficulties in the arcade market of the mid-2000s. But in recent years, the Atomic Wave arcade games have been ported to the Sega Dreamcast, and that's how I played this game. In the year 2993, space-time patroller Roger and space criminal Gustav crash land on a prehistoric planet, where werewolf-like indigenous people aid them in their adventure. Dyna is a fast-paced co-op arcade run-and-gun game where players constantly move forward, slicing evil dinosaurs and navigating hills, slopes, and obstacles. Collecting coins grants extra lives, while defeated dinosaur foes offer stakes to replenish health. The game features 4 main weapons with unique special attacks, and occasional friendly dinosaurs and wolf folk villages provide assistance. Dynagear's energetic and animated visuals, vibrant colors, and explosive action create a lively experience. However, certain stages like the labyrinth and boss fights disrupt the game's momentum. Despite some of these flaws, Dynagear's wild and boisterous nature, along with its quirky humor, make it an enjoyable experience. Though it never received a console port, the game showcases the talent of developer Scarab, which later merged into Marvelous. Demon Front, developed by IGS, pays homage to SNK's Metal Slug while adding its own unique elements. With 4 character options and 6 levels, the game's visuals, though reminiscent of Metal Slug, have their own peculiar charm. The controls are similar, but the pacing is faster, and each player has a flying pet with special attacks. The stages and bosses are announced dramatically, and defeating bosses leads to bonus point opportunities. Despite being a shameless clone, Demon Front stands out with its interesting additions and quirky sensibilities, showcasing the developer's admiration for Metal Slug while adding their own twist. Aliens Arcade, released in 1990 by Konami, is a game based on the movie Aliens. It combines elements of Contra and beat-em-up gameplay, allowing players to assume the roles of Ellen Ripley and Corporal Hicks as they battle through an infested industrial compound. The game features shooting action, the ability to move up and down in the scenery, and a life bar. Players can use various weapons such as machine guns, rocket launchers, and flamethrowers, as well as grenades. The game captures the essence of the movie, although it may appear slightly choppy. There are 2 versions of Aliens, with the Japanese version being easier and lacking certain stages and characters. Gunforce 2, the sequel to the lackluster Gunforce, is a remarkable improvement in every aspect. Developed by Nazca Corporation and released in 1994, Gunforce 2 features tighter controls, faster gameplay, and the ability to dual-wield weapons. The game introduces 11 different vehicles to commandeer and incorporates score attack gameplay, making it a must-play for Metal Slug and run-and-gun fans. The visuals have been significantly enhanced with detailed pixel art and expressive animation, accompanied by heavy metal synth tracks that complement the action. Gunforce 2 stands out as an excellent game, even surpassing some entries in the Metal Slug franchise. Alien Hominid is an impressive co-op run-and-gun developed by Behemoth, the team that brought us Castle Crashers. With its charming art style and old-school gameplay, it offers a memorable gaming experience. As the titular Alien Hominid, players navigate through challenging levels, facing off against imaginative bosses and utilizing various weapons and abilities like head chomping and mid-air shooting. The game's difficulty, reminiscent of classic titles, adds to its appeal, providing a sense of accomplishment. The solid co-op play and enjoyable gameplay make Alien Hominid a must-play for fans of retro-inspired co-op run-and-guns. Contra Hardcore is a legendary run-and-gun shooter game released by Konami in 1994 for the Sega Genesis. It features 4 different playable characters, each with unique weapons, and offers a variety of stages and a branching storyline with different endings. The game introduces new gameplay mechanics such as wall and ceiling grabbing, sliding, and 2 shooting modes. Contra Hardcore showcases impressive graphics with multi-enemy stacked bosses and cool effects. It maintains a high level of difficulty, despite some regional differences in gameplay mechanics, and continues that the game offers replay value and an engaging gameplay experience. I think when it comes to the peak of Contra series, a lot of people go with Super Contra, leaving Contra Hardcore on Sega to be somewhat ignored. I grew up as a Sega kid, so this is the one that I'm most familiar with, and that's why I'm including it on the list. Super Contra is obviously an amazing game that's arguably just as good, if not better, but this is my favorite, so we're going with this one. Huntdown is a retro side-scrolling arcade shooter set in a hyper-violent future where criminal gangs rule the streets. As a hardcore bounty hunter, players fight through levels filled with gangs and bosses, using a variety of weapons and ability. The game pays homage to classic titles like Contra and Metal Slug, just like every other game on this list, featuring intense gunfights, platforming elements, and stylish visuals. Despite repetitive level structures, Huntdown excels in its satisfying gameplay, detailed graphics, engaging boss battles, and amusing dialogue, making it another highly recommended run-and-gun game. Out of all the Metal Slug games, Metal Slug 3 has always been the one that I went back to. Maybe it's because it's the one I played the most when I played it on the original Xbox. There's a number of Metal Slug games in the series that could have made this list, but this one is my favorite. The game offers the classic arcade experience with added features and customization options. It combines Contra-like gameplay with 90s arcade visuals and slapstick comedy, providing a unique and entertaining experience. While the game suffers from deliberate slowdown and occasional performance issues, it still delivers a blast of action and fun. And just like any other game in the series, and all great run-and-gun games, it has local co-op. Overall, Metal Slug 3 is a solid option for fans of the genre looking for a retro gaming experience. Overall, Metal Slug 3 is a great entry point into the Metal Slug series. Super Cyborg is another game that is just a love letter to the Contra series. Created by Russian indie developer Ardor Games, released in 2014, the game pays homage to the Contra franchise by featuring combat androids as the player characters and borrowing elements from various installments of the series. It includes weapons from the NES version of Super C and offers tight jump control, reminiscent of the first 2 games. The game features a 2-player cooperative mode and pixel art visuals that resemble the 16-bit Contra entries, with a soundtrack that complements the atmosphere. However, the game is criticized for its excessive difficulty and lack of fairness, making it challenging even for experienced players. However, Super Cyborg showcases the developer's dedication to replicating the gameplay of the beloved run-and-gun genre, making it a game that could pass as an official Contra title. And when it comes to new run-and-guns, this one is one of the best. Elevator Action Returns is a fast-paced sequel where the objective shifts from stealing documents to defusing bombs. The game introduces 3 playable characters with unique abilities and weapons. The gameplay is faster and allows longer jumps, but shooting while jumping is no longer possible. Exploring blue doors grants points, health, and sub-weapon supplies. Additional weapons can be found in breakable boxes, but have limited ammo. The game features various enemy types, security cameras, and diverse locales. The graphics are realistic, yet lighthearted, and the music adds a touch of sophistication. The unpredictable events within each level enhance the game's excitement. Despite its excellence, the commercial success of Elevator Action Returns was hindered by the declining popularity of arcades and its long gap from the original game's release. It was ported to the Saturn, but only was released in Japan, so a lot of people here just ended up missing it. However, it was just recently released on Steam, so now everyone can experience the brilliance of Elevator Action Returns. Cuphead is a visually stunning game with a 1930s animation style that pays homage to classic cartoons. It features a near unceasing stream of boss battles and a captivating soundtrack that adds to its unique charm. However, the game's beauty conceals its hardcore difficulty, with no checkpoints and limited health regeneration. The gameplay is hectic and stressful, but the linear structure and variety of boss battles keep it engaging. When I played through this game with my brother, I think we ended up dying over 1,000 times by the end. It was incredibly incredibly frustrating and incredibly painful to get through. It was one of the hardest games I've ever completed, but at the same time, by the end of it, it was just one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had in a co-op game. Shinrei Jusatsushi Tarōmaru, I don't know how to say that, is a rare and sought-after Sega Saturn game, developed by Time Warner's Interactive. It offers a 2.5D action experience with sprite characters and polygon backgrounds. It draws comparisons to Klonoa and classic Konami and Treasure games, featuring tightly designed levels and challenging boss battles. The combat system utilizes psychic powers, but the targeting cursor can be a bit finicky, but once you get the hang of it, it feels completely natural. The game's difficulty is high, enemies have large life meters, and movement while attacking is restricted. One of the coolest things about this game is there are no level breaks. You just continue on and on. So when you think that level's gonna end, it just transitions to the next one, and it just makes this feel like a seamless experience. Tarōmaru serves as an excellent homage to 16-bit side-scrollers and showcases the Saturn's graphical capabilities. The boss fights are particularly impressive, with creative designs and animation. This is absolutely a underappreciated game that was only released in Japan on the Sega Saturn. If you could find it, you gotta try it. Gunstar Heroes was a highly acclaimed Mega Drive/Genesis title. It offers fast-paced run-and-gun action platforming with 1 or 2 players battling against hordes of enemies. The game features a variety of weapons that can be combined for devastating effects. With colorful and detailed backgrounds, the game provides a visually intense experience, and its challenging boss battles are a highlight. Gunstar Heroes was the first run-and-gun game that I played that I thought was actually better than Metal Slug and the Contra series. It's just so fast-paced, and it has that treasure creativity in it. This is one of my favorite Sega Genesis games, and one of my favorite co-op games of all time. This game really holds up well. Gunstar Heroes is a must-play title in the run-and-gun genre. Blazing Chrome is an exhilarating and nostalgic throwback to the golden age of side-scrolling run-and-gun shooters. Developed by Joy Masher, this game once again pays homage to classics like Contra and Metal Slug. But unlike other games on this list, this one leans much heavier towards Contra Hardcore, the Genesis game, and it delivers a satisfyingly intense and challenging experience. From the moment you start, you're greeted with a barrage of explosive action, tight controls, and a pulse-pounding soundtrack that sets the tone for non-stop excitement. The game takes place in a dystopian future where humanity is on the brink of extinction, overrun by robotic forces. As a resistance soldier, you must fight your way through hordes of mechanized enemies, giant bosses, and treacherous environments. Blazing Chrome offers multiple playable characters, each with their own unique abilities and playstyles, adding depth and replay value to the game. With its retro-inspired pixel art, fast-paced gameplay, and a variety of weapons and power-ups to discover, Blazing Chrome captures the essence of classic run-and-gun shooters while infusing it with modern mechanics and challenges. To me personally, I think Blazing Chrome is the full evolution of the run-and-gun genre. It took all the best elements from Contra, Metal Slug, Gunstar Heroes, and polished it up and made it more interesting and more playable. It's a thrilling and addictive experience that will keep you coming back for more. To me, Blazing Chrome is the greatest co-op run-and-gun game of all time. What are some other co-op run-and-guns that we didn't mention? And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to watch our top 20 co-op Metroidvania game video. Thank you for watching.